Now, guys, what's going to happen in Game 2? Let's go to the casters.
Thanks very much, Kelly, and everybody else on the analyst desk. You know, Bickham really, I want to drive home the point that Bickham brought home was right away. We were talking about it off the air. I don't think we're seeing an Athena.
I don't think it's wise for him to let Athena through.
Yeah,
we mentioned the Khepri, and it's like, why ban Khepri against a Millsy? He's a defensive
Not
sort
really
of
one
guardian.
of his main gods. Yeah, you don't really see him pick that too much. Not his style.
A few things to note here as well, though, is that what we saw out of London Conspiracy there was they went for pocket picks straight away. There was no messing around from them.
Not at all.
There was no try and hold things back. I feel Titan did hold back a little bit there on their picks. They went pretty much standard with the composition. There was nothing crazy about it.
I mean, maybe you say pocket picks, and Arrow has traditionally played weird stuff. We always harp on the Kukulkan out of Shadow Nightmare, but at the end of the day, Arrow has played some odd stuff. And you mentioned it earlier again off the air. Cherio hasn't played a god twice during the entire regular season.
Yeah, he's played like twice. So no real push on any certain god. But my big key there is I feel like Titan were trying to hold stuff. The one thing that we know, if they've got to run these mages in the solo lane again, remember when Comfrey used to be in the solo lane for Titan back in Season 1? He went the Afro route to link with the Kali that you mentioned for Repicas. If that's the route they're going to take, then they may need to pull it out soon if they're going to keep running mages there, or find something tankier for the jungle.
Exactly. I have largely agreed with the roster changes for Titan. I think that Broda's coming in, Comfrey going out. I actually largely agreed with that roster change, but we're seeing the ripple effects of that roster change. It's not always about individual play, it's about how things affect the overall team composition, and in that one game, didn't seem to work out.
Now this was a good call, I think. I was going to say this to you, Mike. Would you leave Sol up here to see if you could get Athena or Sol?
I think they wanted to have them pick Sol, and I think you're going to see Kanye take Athena for himself.
Completely agree. Completely agree. I think that's the wisest choice there. Giannis gone too, though, as well. We've not seen Giannis so far this tournament.
Wow, they take Giannis Serket.
And they're not going to, so they're going to give Athena over to Conspiracy. Oh, hang on. Ares is a great pick here for Conspiracy. Against those two gods?
Yes.
Yeah, maybe they're baiting. Maybe they're baiting them to go for the Athena so they don't take Ares? I don't know.
I'll tell you right now, London Conspiracy picks Athena and Ares and gives Cherio Athena.
They could potentially
that's the play.
He used to play support with upcoming stars.
And he's done it from the jungle multiple times too.
That's the play.
He's done it so far in the split. I think that is the right call as well. Ares very good against Serket and Giannis. The Athena still going to be able to bring the taunts to the table. There's the Athena locked in.
Athena's do it.
I don't know if you'll go the Ares. You shouldn't see it. Oh, you do see it here already. Wow, good call.
Tom's smiling right now. He's like, yeah, called it. And it's the right call to do. Titan baited themselves into a bad situation there. I think they expected to get away with one of those going through. They wanted the Ares on Conspiracy and something else. Titan, though, could look for potentially, I guess, Hou Yi here or a priority jungler. What would you say would you go for here, Mike, in the jungle this game, then? You got great mobile. Say, not in the jungle. In the solo lane.
Oh, in solo.
Or support, whichever way.
Bellona is probably the best solo laner available right now. Maybe you pick that up. Zashu had a great game on it last game. Maybe you just take it away from him. Bro doesn't play it.
It's going to be a Jing 10. That can be the solo laner. We've seen it multiple times.
That is a decent matchup against Bellona as well. They can probably flex that between support and solo. I'm not sure if Kanye plays Jing 10, but...
It gets hurt a little bit against Ares, though, right? Just in terms of his mobility.
I don't think you'll probably see it solo lane more than likely. But I think that's what they are looking for, is he does have a good matchup against Bellona, so they probably... It's kind of like banning Bellona without actually having to ban Bellona. Because it does have a decent matchup.
Well, that's definitely going to be a jungler and a support. We're going to see a solo lane and ban coming out here, or a hunter. Actually, they're going to ban Hou Yi Titan, so they don't expect this Sol to be in the hunter role here. That's an interesting one.
That is so. Sol is a character that we heard a couple of the analysts say, pretty much just a hunter role. Have your Team Eager? I imagine is pretty much in the hunter role as well. But I've spoken to a couple of these teams, and Sol is valuable in that mid lane if you can play it correctly.
Yeah, I've definitely seen other teams run her in mid, and even people try her out in solo before. She's been tried everywhere, new god. And I wouldn't be surprised if London is using it as a flex pick, maybe put it onto Arrow.
The Freya shot as well coming out from Conspiracy there. They don't want to see Ataraxia on that, so he's going to default to this Rama. Same old Ataraxia, he's been around for a long time. He's got a good hunter variation and build for himself. We've just not really seen him go off so far since he's been back to that role.
It's interesting right here. I think Titan has been the sort of aggressor in picks and bans, if you will. London Conspiracy has been playing the reactionary game. And it's working out for LC. The composition, you take a look at Giannis, Serket, Rom, Xingchen, in a vacuum, those are very good picks. But if you look across the way, I want to see how London Conspiracy responds to the Rom pick, because right now, their draft is looking fantastic, specifically against
And Zashu opts into the Bologna despite the Xingchen, so he's clearly not
Aha!
good at that matchup.
I'd be completely happy with that Bologna there, honestly. The Bologna last game from Zashu was fantastic.
Yeah.
I love the Apollo. I absolutely love the Apollo. We're going to see Soul in the mid lane, Apollo and Athena, 2 global presences available to help Soul out should she need it. But judging the way from Arrow, how Arrow played the Scylla, a god that's relatively, I mean, with the exception of Sentinel, has some issues. Soul, I mean, I think this should work out for London Conspiracy.
Yeah, London has a ton of pressure, and once again, they're going to bait a ton of actives. This time, though, it's a little different because you don't have a lot of follow-up off of your setup from taunt.
Right.
So now you're kind of just looking to auto-attack people down with the Soul Bologna Apollo. It's going to be a little bit of a different dynamic. They won't get 100 to 0 so quickly.
Not sure where that Giannis is going now, because that could have gone into the solo lane for Brotus potentially there. We've seen the Neith locked in as the last pick there. Neith in the mid lane could work out very strong to deal with the supernova, so the damage coming out from the Soul. We've seen Soul up against Neith multiple times. It seems to be a very good go-to pick. Apollo good against it too, but with Apollo taken off, the Neith locked in.
It's about the wave clear. Again, Soul, Soul, when she transitions into mid game specifically, she has a down dip, but different people have different opinions on how she affects a team fight. Nobody has different opinions on how she affects a lane. She dominates the lane, absolutely. So the way to deal with that is with the wave clear. Giannis's wave clear is fine. Neith's wave clear, now that's something different.
Yeah, Neith's wave clear is just as effective as Sol's during the early stages of the game, and can actually put the pressure back onto a Sol if she gets the opportunity to. We saw that in NA yesterday with the different matchups that can go. It can go 50-50, but for the most part, Neith holds the lane against the Sol, doesn't necessarily win it outright until at least later on. The boys of LC there setting themselves up for this one now. They're in a great, comfortable spot so far. 1-0 up against Titan, and they'll be happy going into Game 2, especially knowing that Titan this season, I said this earlier on, they only have a 33% win ratio on Chaos side.
But they still opt to pick it.
They opted to pick this, so they must have strategies in place. They must realize that maybe, as the season's gone on, they like what they see.
So, talk to me a little bit about the complete difference in strategy, Mike. London Conspiracy in game number 1 pick a 100-0 combination in the Naja and the mid lane combination. London Conspiracy this time around, there is no discernible combination, let alone there is no 100-0 capability. As you said, it's really extended. So how does that, when you're on the team, how does that sort of work as you just switch thoughts completely from game 1 to game 2?
Well, as long as they adapt, they should be fine. The dynamic here that switches is they were looking to just 100-0 burst someone down off of all the CC last game.
Right.
This game, you're looking to bait actives, not to burst people down, but you want to stop them from going on the Soul and the Apollo, and they have a lot of poke and they have a lot of auto attack potential, and the other carries cannot dive them if their actives are down.
Now, I was going to go straight back to you, Mike, but I've just seen something on Kanye live here in his build. He's got Emerald Talisman rank 2 at the start. What?
Yeah, I don't know. He's going to lose a lot of gold for that. Xingchen does have a lot of HP 5 from his passive, and he shouldn't be too low in lane, but he is going to lose a lot of gold from watching.
Is there a chance that he thought that Soul was going to be in the long lane despite Apollo being picked? If Soul was in the long lane, would that have been a better choice?
Maybe a little bit, but even then he could, he saw on the loading screen the arrows on the Soul.
Exactly,
so.
yeah. I mean, the only way I could really envision it is he knows he's against an Ares and he's going to take poke in that lane, so he can be super aggressive, I guess, but he's not going to have any sustaining potions here for this, so he's going to just rely on this extra magical defense.
And with that in mind, don't forget, Ares is all tick damage, it's all dot damage, so Mark of the Vanguard would also suffice in that situation. We'll take a look at the short lane, and it's going to be Brotus on that Neith, so we will see the traditional mid lane Giannis out of Pretty Prime, which I'm actually really happy about. Unlike Lobster or some of the other players in Europe, Pretty Prime has really been mage-centric. Specifically the Giannis, he plays a very good Giannis. I would really not want to see that swap out.
Surprising Millsy missed that chain there. If he connected, it would have been a bit of a different story, I feel, in that lane scenario setup. But talk to me about that duo lane, those two matchups there, Mike. We're going to be seeing, obviously the Apollo and Ares up against Xingchen Rama. Who wins?
Similar thing to last game. The Ares has kill potential, but the Ram Xingchen should outclear it.
And they definitely do for the time being. But Kanye Life doesn't have much mana. He's going to get a little bit out of that Emerald Talisman.
And I'm sure if the players on Titan, or I'm sorry, if the players on London press tab, they'll see that Kanye Life for Titan does not have any potions. So if they just focus all their poke on him, they'll have a chance to take lane pressure back, which they are right now.
Apollo on the Shaggy Shank. Now, for those of you that haven't been following Smite for a long time, Shaggy Shank really made his name on a team called Team Coast, and he was known for his accuracy. A lot of people early on compared him to Barracuda in that sense, and the man just doesn't miss basic attacks. So this Apollo pickup for him is definitely something that I'm really liking. Audacity, obviously, one of the biggest steroids, and if you can land all those basics, it makes a huge impact.
One thing I've noticed as well from Conspiracy is they're going for this 3-man composition of frontliners every single time here. They've now got 2 Guardians and this Warrior as well. Very effective for them. They're going to rely on the burst damage of the Soul as well as the Apollo, whereas across the way, once again, we see Titan, not as many frontliners.
Yeah, I mean, realistically, I had a big problem without too many frontliners. What's your takeaway from, do you think the loss was brought to you by lack of frontliners?
Yeah, I do.
That ultimate coming out there from the Cherio from mid
so
lane there. Got a body block. There's a big rotation was the reason from Titan
that
looking
was
for a
great
pick.
Taunt by Emilzy.
There's the Circuit, and she comes pretty much out of nowhere, and Repicas is the first one on the board for Titan, all the way on the backside. Yeah, Cherio's going to fall down as
big
well.
spread for Repi. And there's nothing worse than seeing Circuit get 2 early kills in the game.
Cherio actually had a great rotation too, and he taunted away the Circuit's taunt from Emilzy, but he still ends up falling just too much damage early game from Circuit's level.
It was the surprise factor from Circuit that really, really did it for me. I mean, that Neath ultimate got so you saw the Athena ultimate, Cherio, right? And then, okay, maybe he thought London Conspiracy was going to be more aggressive in lane. And then you saw the Neath ultimate, and pretty much what London Conspiracy was thinking was, that's the reaction to the Athena ult, no big deal. Surprise is a Circuit.
I felt like it was the other way, though. I think we may have seen Giannis ult there from the mid lane, and Athena immediately responded by getting over there ahead of time. But it still didn't work out for them. They didn't respond in time, Conspiracy, and they fell behind.
And you were just touching on the frontliners, but the god on Titan that you do not want to see get kills is the Circuit, because she has true damage on the ultimate and % damage from her passive, if I recall correctly.
Yes.
So now that Repi is 2-0, he's going to just really stall the aggression from London.
And Repicas very aggressive. We know that in the jungle on these assassins. Circuit off to a flying start already. Full boots online. He's going to get his build online. When he starts hitting that crit, he can start bringing down some of these squishier targets very quickly. And when they're the 2 targets that you're really looking at for the damage-centric comp of London Conspiracy, it's a prime opportunity for a Circuit to really go off.
I actually wonder if Emilzy might build like a Bruiser and like maybe even get a Void Stone or something for the Ares to try to get a little more damage in their comp. It might be a little harder now that the Circuit is 2-0, but we'll see.
I think that we will be able to see that, especially with the Athena.
Emilzy might get picked here. He has to use the no escape, but he's still got Circuit waiting in the wings. Double spin, 2 wing coming out from Jing 10, and the damage from Prime will pick up 1. Cherio's still in a world of hurt here. Apollo is in the sky, but it doesn't look like he's choosing to go in.
Yeah, Shaggy Shank does not want to commit to this. There's a little bit too much damage on the ground available. Luckily for London Conspiracy, Cherio does make it out alive. If that happened to be another double kill, that might have just been the end. It's very hard to call that this early, but
I think that actually could have been a little bit better for London. I think Emilzy positioned incorrectly there because you saw him run towards his red buff. If he would have ran into middle lane, that Soul ultimate could have been a factor much, much earlier, and then maybe if he gets into his tower, Kanye can't get that double ultimate like he did in the jungle.
Conspiracy being invaded on by Titan here, and Brota's going to pick up the kill on Arrow with an Unravel. Escape from Prime through the portal. Meanwhile, though, still chasing his Conspiracy. They won't find anything. Very
important that Zashu gets London Conspiracy on the board. As I said, you know, the game isn't over by 5 minutes, but you can definitely start to spiral out of control.
Still looking for Prime. They might be able to find him with that taunt as well. The chain's still ticking damage, but Repicas did work, and Cherio did not find the dash. Meanwhile, on the backside, Kanye finds 1. Zashu finds another as Kanye picks up a double.
Huge. Zashu. London Conspiracy is being kept in this game by the solo laner, pretty much by himself. 3 kills on the board, all brought to you by a solo rotation.
And it's actually good that these kills are going on to just him, because now he has 2 levels up on Brotus, and now that is their win condition.
Yes.
London's win condition is to just win off of solo lane and try to get him as far ahead as possible. And he's actually trying to steal the speed on his own.
Looking for the speed buff, progression from Brotus to try and secure it. Brotus under pressure, gets all the way by Cherio here, but should be able to disengage.
Cherio shows up just to provide a little bit of help. Here's the
time.
long range. Oh, we hit Zashu.
And can Brotus go through and find it now with the Spirit Arrow?
He's totally fine, especially with Cherio playing linebacker here. Nothing really to see. Zashu's going to go ahead back to base.
They'll trade out the blue for their speed, though, so still a good ultimate by Pretty Pro.
Well, they're actually going to go for that blue in the end. They just backed away, did Titan. I guess they were worried about...
I guess they're just going to go for mid-Harpy control, then? I'm not sure.
Looks like it. Right Harpies are due to spawn relatively soon as well. Cherio off farm on the right-hand side now.
I'm actually surprised to see them not opt into that blue, because well, Cherio's already there, but they don't have any other global outside of him, so they could have just out-rotated.
They could have. Instead, like you said, they're going to go for mid-Harpy control. Rights go down in favor of Titan. Left one's due to spawn. You can already see Kanye in position waiting there.
Look at that. With all of the success the Titan had early, these teams are separated.
Mills is absolutely dead in the mid lane there. Full combo coming out. He did get the no escape, I'm surprised. So Cherio manages to trade out Repicast there. That was unfortunate.
Yeah, and it's been a really rough game for Emilzy, and his beads I would have liked to see come online a little bit quicker. They haven't made as big of an impact as I think he was hoping. 4 deaths right now for an Ares is not what you want to see this early in the game.
And you don't want to see a 3-0-3 Zing Jinten support either, because that damage hurts.
And we were mentioning earlier whether they're going to be able to adapt to such a vastly different comp, and I feel like Emilzy's actually struggling with that right now. Athena's a very safe god. She has a lot of immobility with the global ult and the dash. Ares completely different, completely immobile, no movement abilities, and he's getting picked a lot.
He loves the aggression. Zashu going to disarm Brotus to make sure there's no further aggression there, as they did manage to steal away that blue buff over in that right lane. So trying to put pressure onto Brotus here, and you can see, you called this, that we're looking potentially now to see Zashu be carried here, and Cherio is now starting to camp this lane a little bit more.
Zashu's just able to push his advantage right now. He's still got, look at that, 12 to 10, and the gold as well, a big juxtaposition, about 8,000 gold or so. So definitely, or 800 rather.
I just expect to see Zashu's build here come out with Frostbound Hammer, Witchblade potentially, as well as Midgardian Mail. He's got 3 auto attackers to deal with. It's going to be very effective for him to be able to just sit there on the front line like, okay, hit me. That's fine. I can deal with this.
And until Brotus opts into maybe a Soul Leader or whatever form of lifesteal he's going to go into, assuming he is, then Zashu can just bully him out of lane as much as possible, because even though Neith does have the 2 for sustain, he can't get that sustain if Zashu is just zoning him off the wave and poking him out every time.
Now, we took issue with the Xing Qian not picking up the Watcher's Gift because he was going to lose a little bit of gold, and, well, he's been very successful, so that's neither here nor there. But the Talaria boots are something that we haven't really seen too much of because of the advent of the changes to the cooldown, etc. But, so, does the Talaria boots bridge the gap with that Watchers?
Maybe a little bit. I do like it, though, because now he's going to be very far ahead of Emilzy, and it does kind of make up for Watchers. But another thing that I would keep track of is that Traveler Shoes actually give a lot of HP 5, and along with his passive, he'll be able to sustain a lot in between team fights, and he could have near capped HP
Shaggy
5.
has to ult out, but I think that Will Weaver's going to follow him all the way to base. He is dead. Meanwhile, the fight's still raging on. No escape from Emilzy. He's going to come out. Kanye Life going to get pulled in, as is Repicast. Supernova goes off. Supernova is not enough to bring down Kanye, who's juking for his life, but he will eventually fall.
Arrow shows up and grabs the kill with a quick basic. Meanwhile, on the top side, you've got Cherio trying to make things happen. Pretty Prime's here. He gets taunted, but a quick portal through the wall puts the mid laner into safety. Titan's still leading by 3 kills, but the gold very close. Pretty much just 700 gold separating these teams.
And Shaggy did end up dying to the World Weaver, so just a 1-for-1. I wonder if Arrow actually could have kept following along with Cherio there and just let Emilzy take that kill. It is good that a Soul gets a kill, but maybe you can get a 2-for-1 there.
That's what I was thinking as well. I mean, it was pretty much looking at where Xing Qian is. He can't jump over a wall. You keep him in combat. He's not going to be able to blink away. So I think that was Emilzy's kill no matter
and
what.
Putting a kill into an Ares to make him 1-4 is still a good choice. I mean, he doesn't have any protection so far, so getting him to be a little bit tankier really helps your front line.
I'm bringing down that pick onto Kanye Life as well. He was worth a lot more gold then as well, being 3-0-3. It wasn't just a standard kill, so.
True,
but of course,
it's definitely not bad to put it onto the Soul, but when you're behind, you always maybe play a little bit safer, but they could have been a little bit greedier.
That might just be the support and Polar Bear Mike talking, trying to get the kills onto the support.
I need them, man. I need them.
He does. We do see a Polynomicon coming out there. And it's a Polar Bear Mike. I meant Polynomicon. You know, it's the same start. But Polynomicon coming out from Arrow in the mid lane, who's actually been chased down by Kanye here. Once again, we see this in EU. In NA, we didn't really see the Polynomicon builds coming out in the Souls.
Yeah,
it's different.
It has a lot of synergy with Soul's kit, but you have to have so much power behind the Polynomicon to really make it worth it. So I'd expect Arrow to just maybe even go into a Thoth or something, although third item Thoth is a little awkward. But we'll see what he decides to optimize.
Rotation right from Prime, where Zashu is a little bit overextended here. He chooses to fight with the Eagle's right, does not connect. Cherio is now here as well, and Repicast going to get a good ult off on Zashu after that ultimate is wasted. And free pickup, Zashu, overextended.
I think that was a little too preemptive to use that Eagles rally there to go back in. I think he could have held it to immune it. And also, Cherio tried to taunt CC immune.
Meanwhile, though, Titan do get the Gold Fury stolen away by the looks of it from London Conspiracy, who are looking for the pick
Shaggy
here.
mid-dash on the
Shaggy in trouble again. He'll get out, though, just about.
Shaggy will be fine. Meanwhile, in the air,
Snipes.
Going to be Rom taking a look towards the Soul, unable to really find it. Can we take a look at the graphs after that engagement? Yeah, that one, London Conspiracy starts the Gold Fury pretty much by textbook. They see a huge, huge rotation by Titan over to the right-hand side, and that opens the gates wide open for Gold Fury. But there's still a couple of people on the left side of the map, and those few people were able to steal the Gold Fury away, and that catapults Titan into the lead by about 3K.
And that's really, really detrimental because we had mentioned that the win condition for London was now their soul lane. You see Cherio used the global ultimate to go help him. They end up dying in soul lane.
Yeah.
If they would have lost that Gold Fury because their global ultimate was down, it would have been near catastrophic for them. But they kind of salvaged that a little bit.
And the scariest thing was that Titan stole that Gold Fury away with a Jing 10 and a
Right.
Rama. Like, that's not easy. Against
And not even
Aero?
with a Rom ultimate.
Yeah, it was against Aero Sol as well as the Shaggy Shing and a Millsy. That I'm really surprised they got those. They managed to get that Gold Fury.
It was the collection. Xing Chen shows up and is able to group all the damage dealers for London Conspiracy up, and in that you don't need the ultimate because you know how long people are going to be
And Millsy going to catch
for.
Ataraxi with 2 chains though. Third one does not connect. Sprint looked like it was popped there, but walked straight to a taunt from Cherio, who was waiting in the jungle. Still not enough damage to bring him down though.
You know, I like that. Look, Cherio, again, one of the more head-in-the-game players, body blocking. As small as a change that is, and eventually Rom just rolled through him, right? But the body blocks are important.
Here's the scariest thing though. He pops the sprint, he still had beads, and he Soul Eater just kept him alive. Can he under pressure though?
A ton of damage from chains there. He has no magical prot online.
Serket in the middle of 3 people, deals the damage, but ultimately gets pulled back in by way of Millsy. Protection from Soul, going to leave Millsy alive right now. Everybody looking in the middle lane on Ataraxia. Zashu's made the rotation, and Shaggy Shake focusing on the tower.
Good focus onto the tower here.
Love
you
it.
see Brotus run the back on this Neath. May look for some aggression. There's no weave on the ground to detonate here. They won't find the pick onto Zashu. Tier 1 tower falls in mid for Conspiracy.
And there, that's where the strength of London's comm comes out. Just chains alone just made Kanye evaporate. And even though he actually does have a little bit of magical protection, he hasn't itemized into a lot of health, so his effective HP still really low, and he just died near instantly walking into them.
And right there is an upside to London Conspiracy's. Right there was an example of the upside to London Conspiracy composition. Apollo and Soul, something we didn't touch on. Apollo is also one of the characters that's one of the hunters that's more adept at taking down towers, and we all know the conversation about Soul and towers. You put them both in a mid lane tower. How much space was there? Not that much. There was 3 players waiting to come on, and Brotus from the side, and the mid tower was still able to be taken down. Look for a lot of these blitzkriegs from London Conspiracy where they get a kill and they just focus on something real quick, because those 2 in tandem are going to tear down these structures.
Well, it's also the fact that when we saw Kanye life fall down there as well, Titan didn't know what to do. They didn't have a front line left anymore for them to really continue fighting. In the jungle, though, Aero's going to be focused out by double the Will Weaver as well as Repicast. That poison's still ticking. It won't be enough to kill. The Whirlwind does not connect from Kanye life, but Apollo comes crashing in with Shaggy.
Xing Chen throws a Millsy right into the middle of everything, who's able to get the ultimate off before dying to the hand of Kanye life. Shaggy Shank comes down from the top, not really make any impact. Here comes Brotus trying to pick off the last stragglers, but unable to since he's distracted and disarmed by Brotus.
Brotus had a huge opportunity there. He could have potentially gotten a double, even a triple kill. The root just misses.
And that's twice now we've seen that rotation from Brotus where he comes in with the root, doesn't find the Spirit Arrow twice in a row. Kanye, though, played that beautifully. Dives in with 1 jump, dives out with the 2nd jump, doesn't end up falling down. Zashu caught out a little bit alone, but tanky enough to sustain for now. Like that he went Witchblade here. I was calling it. We don't see it too often, but against a composition like this, very wise.
I'd actually like to see a Witchblade from both teams. You have 3 auto attackers on London as well. I'd like to see someone from Titan pick it up.
Absolutely. I mean, just with Apollo and Soul, I'm buying a Witchblade, let alone add the Bologna into the mix.
Even a no one can really get a runic shield. I guess it's awkward for a hunter to get that.
A little bit awkward, but we'll see. I mean, there's always
maybe the Xing Chen.
Yeah, really the only person that, well, Xing Chen can't get the runic shield, but he can get the Witchblade, so we'll see what he decides to itemize into. But he still doesn't have his auras online, excuse me. So he's really going to struggle for all those item slots.
So the whole game plan for Titan here is try and get a fight where they can pick Kanye potentially. That's what they'll be looking for, so they can force the boys into a bad spot. Looking for the taunt once again onto Kanye. Kanye, though, still going aggressive under the tower. Not going to find his ultimate, though. Aero was immune just then.
Does grab the beads, which is important. Soul's beads are now down. They are pretty much, they are down for about 74. Those were down before. It was actually Cherio's beads that were used right there, level 2.
Yeah, Aero got the, is it called Corporeal Form?
Yep.
The immunity frames from that off during the Xing 10 ultimate, so he didn't have to use his Ada.
Lucky enough, the red buff does go down, though, giving over to Prime. And the setup for Gold Fury is the key here. Once again, Cherio going aggressive, looking for Kanye. Chains followed by a Milzy, but it's just these 2 Guardians alone against 3 right now. The backup hasn't arrived just yet, you can see. When it does, everyone backs out.
And you notice what London is doing? The last 2 or 3 taunts have gone only on Kanye. Like, he's the only frontliner. They're just trying to make sure that he can't stay in their faces, and then they can just dive the backline of Titan for free.
And look at it, the big backline of Titan. It's only Replicas that's really got the aggression that they were looking for there. They're just looking for a poke elsewhere for the most part. Milzy Cherio lining up again. 3 members of Titan still here. Prime on the backside near the red. Blink kick from Cherio, looking for guess who?
Just Kanye again.
Kanye again.
Kanye still being subjected. There's an ultimate going on to Cherio, who's going to ult, but Emilzy can't get close enough into that corridor to get the damage down, and eventually Ares and everybody else going to be chased. Arrow takes a big chunk of damage, but here comes the aggression. Emilzy grabs one, Replicas in some trouble, has to zigzag out, but Pretty Prime able to take out the support for the 12th kill.
Eagle comes in from Zashu, though, doesn't manage to connect with anyone again, eats some poke for free in the end. Brotus now making the rotation, and it's a sign for Conspiracy to run. They lost one of their front liners. Kanye going in deep again. Whirlwind of Doom does not connect. Aero survives thanks to a very good Aegis there, and they're still backing away Conspiracy.
5 members for Titan on the left side of the map here with the rotation from Brotus from all the way from solo lane. Snipes at a Ram. That's the killing blow at Araxia. Stops Arrow in his tracks. Arrow is trying to back, and Ram sends him back the hard way. With that, Titan going to take out the tower. And do we see a Gold Fury PBM?
The players for London actually just spawned. I'm not sure. I think I'd like to see Titan reset and then try to group and go to gold.
Well, and meanwhile, Cherio still going aggressive here, looking for the support from Zashu as well. Backflip forced on Brotus, but no Eagles rally available just yet from Zashu. But Cherio is here, as is Shaggy Shank, looking for the pick on Ataraxia. Good taunt. He's going to put Ataraxia under pressure, but he rolls the correct way. Through space and time connects with Shaggy. He's hurt. He has to leave.
Huge change by Emil.
Walks directly into the unstable vortex. Unfortunately for Shaggy Shank, he's going to fall down to the hand of Brotus. Kanye Life in some trouble now, surrounded. And Kanye Life actually picks up Cherio.
It's getting out of hand here by the looks of it. It looks like Titan is starting to wash these fights over and over again. The aggression that they were looking for Kanye onto Kanye Life from Conspiracy frontline isn't working.
So we had just mentioned, does Titan do gold there after the tier 1? And you don't really want to because you just expended all of your abilities to try to get that tier 1 tower. They back, and London recognized that and tried to force a fight, knowing that Titan did not want to fight there, but they didn't respect the Janus ultimate. Pretty Prime dropshipped all of his teammates out of base, and they pick up a couple kills, and now they get the gold Fury. It's still.
Been saying we've not seen much Giannis for the whole of the Super Regionals so far in all the games we've seen, but comes into the fray, makes a big impact in the game, and now look at that golden experience.
I don't think any other god in the game can make that play that Pretty Prime just did for his team.
Just Giannis, and Giannis important at 20 minutes, leads Titan right now, 7,400 gold in the lead. Experience also now in the 5 digits as Titan leads by 10 kills as well. Number 1 did not necessarily go in Titan's way. They kind of stick to their guns, still a little thin in the front line, but it's just not making it, just not really making that big of an impact.
Is this down though to the fact that they're focusing Kanye Life so much? I mean, you've seen the front line do it time again.
Yeah, I do think they're overcommitting on him a little bit. They do want to take away the frontline potential for Titan.
Right.
But because Kanye got so many early kills, he's just outscaling London's damage with his defense, so it's really hard to just take him down.
And on top of that, the regen, you mentioned that with the Emerald Talisman, as well as the Talaria boots, as well as his passive. It's really helping him out.
And now that he has Sovereignty, his HP 5 is probably capped out of combat, so if you don't kill him really quickly, he'll just regen it all, and then you're just wasting your time.
That's one of the things Titan always do, though, with their itemization, right? They always seem to find these crazy things that everyone goes, what's that? And it works out for them. We remember that with the Unicorn build coming out from Ataraxia. He made that his own to an extent and made it work for himself, and eventually others adopted it. We may see more of this coming out from, not necessarily all the supports, but maybe on Xing 10 supports.
Yeah, it just works. It synergizes so well with Xing Qian. But what are you losing this? Well, here comes Cherio looking for the life of Replicas, Kanye Life again out of nowhere. He's always here, always ready to go. There's the ultimate out of him. It's going to throw Soul into the wrong direction, but ultimately should be fine. Taunted under the tower. Beads is Kanye Life.
And I'll keep an eye on Kanye Life's health here, because this is what we're talking about with his itemization here. You'll see is that just below half, watch how quickly he continues to regen as this fight continues onwards. They get a tier 1, they're going to look for tier 2, and already he's back above half, and he's continuing to tick up. He can go again very soon. It's crazy.
That's a lot of HP 5 right there. Blinking in is a triple taunt out of Emilzy. They've got to convert off of this one. Zachu starts the party. Emilzy has the ultimate. Gonna grab 2! This is big for London Conspiracy. Unable to find. Meanwhile, take a look at the bottom left. You've got Shaggy just pushing away all at his heart's content in the left lane.
And then you have to just keep chasing to allow Shaggy to keep this split push going here. Looking for Brotus, backflip down. Emilzy gonna get the chains off. Body blocking the shots onto Chero. Arrow on his way down. Brotus should fall here. He punishes them a little bit, but just in time, tier 2 falls, as you see in the split push camp.
Not only do they win the 5v4 in mid off of the amazing blink taunt from Cherio, but Shaggy gets to split push left lane all the way up and get a tier 2 tower. That's just huge. And
now look, they're looking for a pick on Ataraxia as well. Athena coming down. As soon as he lands, taunt available. No beads online for Ataraxia. He's got to land perfectly here. He falls down as well.
Nowhere to go, nowhere to hide. Ataraxia falls to the hand of Shaggy Shank. And what was previously a 10-kill split, now shortened to just 6. London Conspiracy, I mean, you celebrated Cherio's amazing blink taunt. It caught everyone off guard, and then Emilzy able to follow up with the Ares. That's what we were looking for from minute 1. It's minute 22. I don't know if it's a little bit too late, but that's what London Conspiracy needs to do.
And now that Titan doesn't have, like we were saying earlier, that Titan only has the one frontliner, and now that they have to group up to take objectives as a 5v5 or 4v4 or whatever, now that's where you see this Athena Ares combo really come in. Ares normally alone isn't going to pull anybody with his ultimate, and in that fight he pulls 2, gets both kills, and that's just huge for London.
And the scariest thing was that was a 4v5 for Conspiracy, because Apollo was off split pushing that entire time. Shows the strength that Conspiracy have technically on defense because of Titan's weak front line.
And that's just the problem with with dealing with this London Conspiracy composition, is that if you get taunted, you're probably dead. And if you get Ares ulted, you're probably dead. You can only beat one.
And I love the awareness from London there. I'm sure Shaggy the whole time was asking, should I ult over? Should I ult over? Do you guys need help? And for them to know that they're just wrecking 4v5 anyways and doesn't need to, they just push their lead or push their advantage so hard.
Confidence in their own lineup is pretty much exactly what London Conspiracy showed. Let's take a ride with them this time along and see how confident they are in their comms.
Don't fight this, don't fight this. That's
just beads. Run away. That's Xingtian beads, we didn't use anything.
Good job.
I'm here.
Can we go over here? I can
Nah,
go.
I thought you want to chill, but we can fight for sure.
Yeah, we can fight now.
They're baiting us, they want to fight. Let's just get red, let's get red in speed.
Really.
They just want to get red in speed, or...
I think they're scared,
I'm
dude.
clear this wave.
Gold's coming up. Shaggy, you can steal purple, I think.
No, I didn't.
Okay. No,
I'm gonna go for speed.
I'm gonna place normal on FG. We need wards, guys.
Yeah, careful here, right here. Careful.
I'm gonna split push. Careful. What do they do if they? What do we do if they gang Shaggy? Can we do fire?
No, we cannot do. We have soul. We actually can. It depends.
I'm coming. Oh no, they have Jan soul. Never mind. I have a ward. I can see everything they do.
Gold is up. We need to go.
Go.
I have teleport.
I'm gonna back in TP. I'm gonna back. Okay, I'm coming.
They probably like have a D-ward here as well.
Careful.
They're not on it, right?
We need you.
Yeah, they still on it?
Place a ward. At least.
Okay.
Alright.
They see us.
Oh, I'm sorry. Back up.
Place a ward like here, please.
He's blinked.
Good job.
Guys, I need a ward.
Look to the left, left.
They're going hard on Shaggy.
Shaggy died. Back out.
I needed a ward.
We tried, but we just.
Do you want to give it up?
Yeah.
Give it up.
Just farm. Whatever.
Come back then.
The small change. It's annoying. We have to give it up. Get back.
So much information being exchanged right there. Pretty much just straight, clean communication. Beads are down, beads are up. Their Gold Fury's up. We're doing this. Can we do this buff? Straight communication change. And what I really take away from that is how teams react to when things don't go right. You saw Cherio blink, immediately just, I'm sorry, and immediately was like, no big deal, we'll disengage, not a big deal. Shaggy dies, we'll let him get gold, we can go elsewhere.
When we heard the comms there, the one time something goes wrong with Shaggy dying, there was no comms.
Yep.
That was the big key. Aggression in mid lane though from Titan here, looking to abuse it, a 4v5 scenario. They are going to manage to pick up Emilzy, who's going to no escape, but I think he'll fall down beforehand.
Ataraxia gets pulled underneath the tower because of Emilzy. Pretty Prime gets him with the long range. Ataraxia, he's got a hair of HP, but Zashu's there, unable to really follow because of how many players Titan has committed to following suit. Cherio, meanwhile, on the backside. Shaggy Shank's in the air. Shaggy Shank's in the air, but he lands in the middle of mid lane.
Well, Zashu does turn around in time to find Brotus, which is a key pickup for them as well. They do manage to find at least one in this engagement and pressure them off the tier 2 yet again.
I actually like that Shaggy landed where he did. Most people would probably go for those cleanup kills.
Yeah.
But you saw with the Yana Assault down, they're already forced out of the fight. They're completely irrelevant in the fight. Just go ahead and take the kill that is guaranteed, and you get a tower off them.
And look how quick the tower as well. They're going to pressure the tier 2 here. Kanye's back, but tier 2 falls already, and they should be able to disengage.
And as you mentioned, with the Soul and Apollo, towers are just going to evaporate. So you really don't have to get more than one kill to just force it down.
Which is why that was such a when Shaggy Shank dies, how quickly London Conspiracy was ready to let them take the Gold Fury.
Nice little work from Aero there, using his Disapparate to actually spread the path of flame that stunned him out, so he couldn't continue the chase into Cherio there. That's why Cherio, he stood still for a second, which is unusual.
I'm loving how confident London Conspiracy, they don't think they're out of this at all. Not at any point. Right now, 4,000 gold, it's much easier to swallow, but before when that lead was larger, they were still playing.
And I love how they're not playing with the game state. They're not playing like they're behind. They're playing to their comp strength. If they are not baiting actives and constantly being aggressive, they won't win these fights.
And I feel that their comp is slightly better just because they've got a better front line for these engagements all the time. When we see Titan taking this early lead, it's because they've got high mobility, lots of aggression. But like you were saying, Mike, when it comes to that sort of siege and tower scenario, it's very difficult to break them down.
And you know, earlier on, when London Conspiracy was really up against the ropes, Mike mentioned that the win condition was pretty much solo lane, but right now Arrow's in some trouble. That's pretty much, Repicos actually is going to get smoked here thanks to Zashu, but Repi is able to deal the damage enough to take out Soul. Zero falls down. Shaggy's in the air. He's going to land and separate the enemy away from the rest of his team. Cherio does get taken down by Pretty Prime, who finds a way out via the portal. And Emilzy and Zashu going to find a way out safely.
Don't think Emilzy will get out just yet. Luckily, there's a tier 2 tower there for him, but Prime did good work in that engagement, and still Kanye going aggressive, trying to force back the team of Portal Conspiracy.
Tower's taken down, and now Emilzy pretty much in the middle of nowhere. Shaggy can deal some basics, but that's all he can really do as he watches his Guardian fall.
And there you saw the weakness of London's comp, which is if you lose the initial trade in the fight, you cannot get out because you have immobile gods, and they have the side on Titan has Janus out to just chase everybody down.
And I think the key as well, in those jungle fights, I want to favor the side of Titan with their composition
absolutely.
here. Portals are available, you've got Spirit Arrows to fire through walls, Rama Arrows fire through walls as well. A lot of damage potential.
And even if you're not fully committing, they have a lot more poke through walls, like the Janus, Unstable Vortex, just you can poke everybody
got no mana.
Kanye should die here,
Yeah, he's got no mana. I think they were trying to work out who to give the kill to there. Meanwhile, Cherio in the mid lane got a taunt onto 2. Kanye's still alive with that HP 5 regen. Zashu.
Ataraxia is low on mana too. He does have a blue buff, so he maybe can get away.
Cherio can keep chasing it, so he beats early to get the taunt. That's a good beat. Perfect. He should be able to set this one up for Apollo. Cherio
excellent awareness from Cherio there to beat the slow. Most people would not have beats that slow.
It's such a great play from Cherio. Cherio has been one of the underrepresented players in the entirety of the Pro League, I think. I mean, he was playing on a very poor team earlier on in the season, moves up to London Conspiracy, takes a slight step up, and I mean, it's small things like that you see, and I always compliment a wide God pool. I really like what Cherio brings to this table, and London Conspiracy off of that, we mentioned the prowess of how well this team can take down structures, meaning towers. How well can they take down the Fire Giant?
Well, how well can they take down Repicas is the first question, and well enough is the answer. Fire Giant can now be started again. 3 members of Titan still down, and Emilzy just doing zoning work here. Doesn't matter if they get pulls off, the rest of them can still take fire.
Look at this. Look at the amount of damage Fire Giant's taking from 2 members of the team. London Conspiracy, I mean, we mentioned all you need is one character, one death to take a tower.
And now with Fire Giant, they're just going to completely destroy every structure.
They've got three front lines as well, just to tank it up and take it in turns too.
And since Titan only has one frontliner, it's really hard to get a good hard engage to force both of those carries off of the towers. Now, if Shaggy and Arrow split up where they're positioned, one of them is going to be guaranteed to hit the tower no matter what, and it can really be difficult for Titan to defend Phoenix.
On defense then, as Titan, where you're looking for Repicas to go, which carry are you aiming for? Are you aiming for the Soul? Are you aiming for the Hunter, Apollo?
I think it's probably easier for Repi to go on the Apollo, but it's going to be hard to go on either one of them. The Soul is probably a little squishier,
Yeah.
but the Soul also has a lot more outplay potential with the immunity frames and the knock-up on the ult and whatnot.
I guess the burst as well,
Yeah,
before the crit really gets
right.
in line for the Apollo.
Cold Fury goes the way of Titan. However, that Fire Giant and the towers on the right-hand side go the way of London Conspiracy. LC still trailing by 4,600 gold as we're just past the half-hour mark in game number 2. But with that in mind, London Conspiracy, Mike mentioned it before, they haven't played. They've been down for majority of this game, as the graphs show you, but they haven't played like they've been down, and they're still here. And a large part of that, honestly, has to do with Zashu.
Yeah, Zashu getting those 3 kills early and getting a lead over Brodus has been huge. He's really kept his team in the game, and he's been a huge presence in these team fights. And you notice he's built a lot of utility. He's built the Frostbound, he's built the Witchblade, and now he's really just looking to frontline and keep the carries off of his teammates.
And that's why he's looking. You can even see as well with the Cherio build here, a little bit more damage coming out of that with the Void Stone as well. Going to utilize allow Aero to do a little bit more in this mid lane on the Sol as well as you know, impact Emilzi's damage too. Emilzi, realizing he's getting focused in the front line, goes for the Mail of Renewal. So if he can just survive the initial burst and the team can find a kill, he'll sustain a bit better.
Yeah, if you take a look at London Conspiracy's composition, everybody has a very specific role. And then when it comes to Zashu over there in Soul Lane, he's pretty much the Swiss Army knife. He's filling all of the holes that the team needs to fill. Cherio making a dash in, grabs a taunt but uses his beats. Xingqian comes in, Kanye Life being forced out. Very low. He'll have to depend on that HP 5.
Luckily enough, though, those beads lasted long enough that the no escape didn't actually pull him all the way back in, but a small win there for Conspiracy on the siege.
Ultimate's still up outside of Emilzi for the team of London Conspiracy. Same situation. Everyone's ults up except for Kanye Life. So supports trade their ults. Everyone else still ready to party.
Keep an eye on Cherio. He'll be the one looking for the taunts. If he can find 2 or 3, that'll be what he's looking for.
I'd like to see them be a little more aggressive on this Phoenix. They really only have to force off the Xing 10 so that their carries can hit the Phoenix, and they already do so much tower damage. I think London's being a bit overly passive here.
Good news for them as well is that they're pushing down the mid lane where the Phoenix did fall for London Conspiracy earlier on against Titan. Now the Fire Minions are on cooldown. Maybe that's why they were waiting a little bit longer there, Mike.
Yeah, that could make sense.
And now we just start with this new minion wave coming in. Cherio will have taunt available. He's back to full health as well, looking for Ataraxia.
Cherio dashes in, grabs a taunt onto a single player, but
take a ton
very low. Cherio, he's going to be able to channel the ultimate, but ultimately will fall to Ataraxia. Zashu still has his ultimate available. I would have loved to see Eagles rally under that Phoenix.
No one hit the Phoenix there. Did you notice it took a long time for him to actually... He's not even down. They started focusing on the fight.
It actually looked like a bit of miscommunication. Cherio's played great all game, but it looked like he was prioritizing fighting over getting the Phoenix. You saw him tank the Phoenix to ult there, where I feel like they should have just called to get the Phoenix. They have so much tower damage.
I guess that's what Cherio was expecting them to do, right? It looks that way. And then they just didn't go for the Phoenix. And now, with that 4v5, they've got to go back, just clear out some jungle while they can and wait again.
Yeah, I mean, that had to be a miscommunication because Cherio dashes in, taunts one person by himself. The two players that are adept at killing towers, that have a tower killing buff, don't attack the tower. Zashu's Eagles Rally, which provides a stun and protections underneath that tower, isn't used at all.
In the jungle, though, Arrow aggressed on again. He has that 3-0 form to try and get away, but still being chased down. No escape from Emilzi, though, could put him under pressure. Immediately, the Repicast gets bursted by the polyproc of Arrow and a crit.
Huge damage coming out of the guys onto London Conspiracy. Shaggy Shanks in the air. He's looking for one person. There's the taunt. Cherio redeems himself. Taunts Ataraxia directly into the damage for the Hunter. Shaggy Shank still looking for more. He's going to stay on the outside, protect his solo laner, while Kanye Life tears apart the mid laner for London Conspiracy.
Another chase is onto Kanye as well. Emilzi doesn't have change just yet, so Kanye can jump away a little bit, but with Cherio in tow, a quick taunt and that much CC on those two Guardians is very difficult to get away.
That was a great job by Zashu, that fight. You saw him at like 15% health, and he had the awareness to stay in the fight and get Cherio as close as possible so that he could clean up the rest of the enemy team, and that could be game here.
I mean, we've got a minute on Kanye, 30 seconds on Ataraxia. Replicas will be up to contest this, but I mean, look how quickly this Phoenix is going to fall. Right here, 25. It's already
I don't think they can end without Soul. I'd like to see them play this a little safe. Fire is up.
They need the Soul.
With Prime being up, the Fire Giant just running out on them too, it's a little bit risky. They're going to go for the second Phoenix instead.
Cherio might ult here. He has his ult up and he just back to base. Yeah, he is going to ult here.
Coming onto MLZ as well, so they may look for a little bit more aggression. Watch out for a taunt from Cherio potentially. If he sees them go step too far forward, this Phoenix is taking a long time, but is actually quite happy to tank it up.
Something to watch here. If they can poke out London enough, Pretty Prime has his ultimate enough, they could potentially dropship to Fire if they chase them down enough.
Without that Soul there, these objectives don't melt nearly as quickly.
That was minus the Fire Giant, minus any creeps as well, so they didn't have any backdoor protections removed either on top of no Fire Giant, so kind of took them a long time. Unfortunately, they didn't manage to bring it down.
Luckily for them, they don't die, so Titan can't really take much off of it, but I still think it would have been better to go to Fire there. Because now you do buy Titan time to get actives up. You see beads for Pretty Prime. They weren't up. They just came up now. So that's a big deal for Titan.
I guess the best news is, though, you have an Apollo, right? So you could just send him off to that left lane and siege Fire Giant, wait for him, and either take Phoenix or get both, you know, potentially. It gives it a bit more opportunity for London Conspiracy once again, who, let's be honest, they were behind before, but now they've caught up and they're putting pressure on Emilzy again in the jungle. They get the Athena ult. That's the main thing Lil Boy is for there, clearly.
Let me ask you a question about that Athena ult. Athena ult is super important when it comes to the early game and the mid game. How much does it mean during the late game when everybody tends to be grouped up?
During late game, it's still huge. The damage mitigation in fights is just enormous. It can completely save a carry and turn the fight by itself. Saving
a carry is looking for a Guardian right now. Kanye, though, does flip 2 into an awkward position. They both fall through the portal there, but luckily Zashu will get away above half health. Kanye, once again, was the pressured target on the front line. Clearly, he's the one trying to make things happen.
Kanye Life blinks on in, but he gets taunted. Deals with a little bit of damage. Shaggy Shank
as well. Late game Athena with full cooldown reduction. So many tons so quickly. Over and over again. But Titan get a bit of pressure on here where they could look potentially for a Fire Giant start. They're going to begin it.
Yeah, with Era getting poked out, they definitely win that trade. So
2 hunters.
Yeah.
They could really look to burst this one down quite quick.
There's the ultimate from Athena, so Cherio's here as well. Titan brings the Fire Giant.
Cherio's looking for a taunt.
And you can see immediately Titan's going to back away. They don't want to contest when Cherio's on that front line. Cherio really big instigator for this one, involved in 18 of the kills so far in the game. And you can see that some of the deaths that he's had, he's been doing his job.
Great patience, too. He had a chance for a 3-man taunt there, knows Arrow isn't with his team, decides to play it safe and look for another opportunity later.
Still a Fire Minions pouring down mid for the time being. Over halfway to that fight. Phoenix in mid respawns. Left-hand Phoenix is recharged.
Zashu in trouble.
Under pressure alone.
Surrounded by Titan. Ultimate from Replicas on top of him. Well, don't think it'll be... now it's enough to kill him. Pretty Prime drives it on home with the ultimate from Mozambique. And with that, it's just still a 4v5, honestly.
It's still just a 4v5, but that was such a big pickup when Reppy had used ultimate and not found a kill. London Conspiracy going to try and return the favor, though, get the beads off Kanye, and they're still going to be able to defend the Titan for the time... Sorry, the Phoenix for the Fire Giant for the time being. As the Phoenix is respawning in mid, Reppy's there to defend it.
Yeah, they don't even have to get fire. They're just buying time for that Phoenix, like you said.
Blink in, though, from Kanye again, still looking for aggression onto Cherio, who taunts him again. But Kanye will reject with that amazing HP 5.
Heavenly's pop. Oh, wow. London Conspiracy on the aggression. They want a kill. Dash is going to miss. Taunt won't, however. Broda's taking a lot of damage just from Cherio. Here's the follow-up out of Emilzy. Chains and the fire. Burn, baby, burn. Shaggy Shank puts him in the ground. It's 20-25 as Pretty Prime picks up Arrow. But Shaggy Shank gets a second. Shaggy Shank gets a third. That is a huge window of opportunity for London Conspiracy. Ataraxy and Pretty Prime exist. Prime's ultimate just come up, but London Conspiracy, they learned their lesson. They're going to look for the kills. Ooh. Prime gets one, but Shaggy Shank finishes up his 4th kill in a row, and that's a Fire Giant.
And now it's all that's left is Ataraxia trying to defend, but they were well aware that he's in the area, and Emilzy's going to go over there as we tune him with Shaggy Shank still. Emilzy putting the pressure onto Ataraxia again with Zashu in tow. Ataraxia should fall down. Lower mana, deletion, deicide, Conspiracy.
London Conspiracy.
They're calling it end, or are they just going for the Phoenix here?
They're going to go for the Phoenix at the very least. Shaggy Shank knows that he can't solo that Fire Giant.
They still have Fire Minions there as well, so this should be pretty much the end of the game. I mean, there's no way for them to really defend this.
They're going to go for it at the very least.
And they have Fire Creeps. Yeah, that's game.
Perfect end to the game for them, honestly, overall. I expected things to change up a little bit when Prime managed to find that big snipe onto Zashu and delete him thanks to the poison spread from Replicas.
Can we look at the graphs real quick before the Titan falls? Excellent. I want to talk about that as we go into it. That graph is on Titan's side for the entire game. The entire game, Titans leading, and London Conspiracy. You know what does it for me? It's the shot calling, because that Heavenly Agility at the end, that window, that fight was so small. London Conspiracy recognized the fact that they could take that fight, hits the gas, and goes for it.
And what a great performance by both these boys of London Conspiracy. They came into this underdogs, even though they're the higher seeded team. Nobody seems to think, the analysts didn't think it, the viewers at home didn't think they had a shot for this one, yet they're 2-0 up against this Titan team. Then let's be fair, you said that yourself, Titan, they were number 2 at Worlds.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a long time since then, though. Before we head over, last thoughts on the game. How do you think, like I said, I give credit to the intelligence of the shot calling, Polar Bear Mike. Where do you think this one came from?
I also think the theme of these last 2 games have been just the huge disparity in front lines between the 2 teams. We've seen London have 2 to 3 frontliners every single game, Titan only having 1, and I feel like it's lost them a lot of aggression, and London's just getting to find way more picks than Titan is.
Let's just stop giving them Athena, first of all. I think that's a big key, because they will take it. It's clear they'll run it in the jungle or in the support role.
I don't know if we're going to see a switch around from Titan, because right now things haven't been working. Kelly, why don't you go over to the analysts and talk to us and break down game number 2.
All right, analysts, what exactly was the turning point there? Because it looked like Titan had it the entire time, all the way up until like the 25-minute mark. What switched it over?
It was definitely the Giannis ulti at the end that opened up that last team fight. It was just huge. And we saw that the Giannis in the early game allowed Repicos to get that early double kill, which was really important for the beginning. But then London Conspiracy, the fact that Shaggy Shank was able to turn that fight around was the most important part.
Just hitting those crits off of Apollo, right?
He got a triple kill, then an unofficial quadra at the end.
Now, we saw a double support come out of London Conspiracy and then a double hunter out of Titan. Why was Neith picked for the solo lane? And I know we were all talking about her build, you especially.
Yeah.
What was going on with that build?
I think the point of that build, she built Jones Wrath. I think it worked in the early game where she could just spam ults, mostly on Ares, who was like 0-5 at one point, I think. He was really behind. But once it got to that point where teamfights started happening and their lack of front lines started to make a difference, the Jones Wrath didn't really do much, even though that she did do a lot of damage. The lack of frontline forced like Repicos to keep initiating. A lot of times he would die. And the fact that he had to initiate as a squishy Circuit, that made the difference in terms of like how London Conspiracy had 3 tanks that could just run it like the double hunter.
Yeah, he kept like going in as Circuit even just by himself. Why do you think he was playing so aggressive as such a squishy character?
I mean, he kind of had to. I think Vika made a good point where, maybe not that he had to necessarily, but if Titan were to be the aggressors, Repicos would have to be one of the first in, because your hunters aren't going in. Giannis can't, go in on the front line, and then it's Jing Tin. And Jing went in a lot, to be fair. Like, Kanye was always in there, but getting beads and, like, pulling 2 people. But the problem was they had 3 gods that had to sit super far back line. Yeah. One who was getting poked out when he dove, which was Zing. And then the second Circuit dove onto someone. I mean, London Conspiracy immediately turned. I think it was just a team comp thing. And honestly, I don't know if this is Brotus's weakness. I think his god pool doesn't favor right now kind of the dominant meta in solo lane. But that's what he's playing. He's not playing the dominant solo laners or the frontline solo laners that we see a lot of, or if not all, North Americans do. He's playing these like picks that like, they work sometimes, but if that's all you play, like as no frontliners, teams are going to be able to adapt. Yeah.
This was the first game that we saw Xing Chen get picked, and he did really well early game, but why haven't we seen him since then?
I think that a big issue was how he would always dive in, he would always get a couple beads with his ult, but a lot of times he would get poked like a 3rd HP, and then they literally had no front line after he had to back out when he was poked. So then Circuit would have to go in, or like even a hunter, or they would have to Janus ult to get close to the fight, and that like forced them to kind of like, it allowed Titan or London Conspiracy to counter engage with like Ares ult and stuff like that, and that allowed them to win the fights.
I think honestly the mobility was huge for LC2, because even if they lose some fights, some players were able to come back in. There's Teleport on Bellona, there's Athena Ultimate, and there's Apollo Ult as well. They had a lot of global presence, a lot of mobility to get to fights that they typically were losing at the start.
Yeah, Shaggy Shank did a great job, especially at that last play that we saw where you were talking about. He really turned the tide there for that game. Shaggy Shank as a hunter, does he fit in like the top of the hunters for EU, or do you feel like he's kind of like in the middle of the pack?
I think Shaggy is always there. Like you never really see Shaggy do bad, and I wouldn't say he like went off in the beginning, but he plays very good once he's full build. He knows how to play late game hunters. His positioning is phenomenal, and he can hit his autos.
And what's important is he knows how to get the job done necessarily. There was one point in time where LC was defending 4v5 in the tier 2 middle tower, and then Shaggy Shank was split pushing on left side at the same time.
Push cam.
And it worked. Yeah, the split push cam, and it worked was the most important thing. Normally you would want to ulti into a team fight, but LC had their number.
When do you make that decision decision, though, when that decision of I'm going to split push or I'm going to help my team, is it only when you have a hunter that can join that fight later on if need be?
It's mostly either, if it depends if your team is already like completely winning the fight.
But they weren't, were they?
Yeah. No, they were.
Yeah,
by that point,
LC were turning the fight. Yeah, so like he was split pushing, and they were sitting under tier 2 the rest of his team, and the call for LC right there was clearly like, all right, let's just split push, and then I think LC for whatever reason realized they could win the fight because the second that Titan started backing off, realistically someone was going to go back and defend that tier 2 tower. Emilzy blinks on Ares, pulls 2 people, and they forced the engagement. They made sure Shaggy could split.
What was important was the fact that Repicos went in and he got instantly blown.
Oh yeah, there was that.
That's what opened up, allowed the double pull from the Ares afterwards.
Let's actually talk a little bit about that Serqet, or more so London Conspiracy walking into the poison. How do you make a mistake like that as a professional team? Are you just, they saw Bellona ult in, were they baited by that Bellona ult?
So I think they were tunnel visioning on the Bellona initiation past the archers, and then they kind of overlooked the fact that the archers were poisoned, and then they exploded on 2 LC members that walked in.
But that's such a big mistake. You can't make that kind of thing, especially with a game that decides whether you're going to Worlds or not, right?
I think there was a lot of mistakes from both of these teams. London Conspiracy right now, they're up 2-0, but honestly, these teams, they need to tighten up their gameplay. Whoever's going to win this set, because they're going to be going on to face Epsilon. Right now, like these games are really important for these teams. And I think it's okay that they're making some mistakes in this set that they're going to be able to watch and kind of get their jitters out. Because I know Emilzy specifically, Anatoly and I talked to him earlier this week. He was super nervous. Like he just
tournament jitters, man.
I don't know if he's nervous now. I'm assuming he's not. I actually heard him like screaming, so I'm pretty sure he's fine now. But I think they're going to be able to tighten up whichever team comes out on top.
And what I don't like was the fact that Titan last picked Neath into a Bellona. They had like a double 100 comp against the Bellona, which didn't really make too much sense. And the way it was built to Transcendence, Boots, Jotuns, into Aussie, it just felt like more of a support Neath.
That might have been due to like the fact that you can disarm, but I still don't see the logic behind it. Like, I don't think you should ever build or pick another hunter into 3 tanks, especially when they can just run at you, especially Bellona. Bellona Osiris, those are the big 2 that you don't want 2 hunters with.
I think Titan are really struggling in the picks and bans right now.
Is that what it comes down to?
And I don't know if Brotus, this is a weakness in Brotus' God pool, where he can't really play the, at least North American meta gods, where it's like frontline warriors and guardians. But it's just clear that once Titan starts to get behind, or if they can't get really far ahead and keep that pace up, they're losing these games in late game. Like, it's just like London Conspiracy have a better team comp and a better team fight.
So it just comes down to them picking better late gods, because it seems like they keep picking really good early comps, but then falling off late game.
I think they need more of a front line, definitely. Like, London Conspiracy keeps building these front line, high CC comps that can just force your beats.
So fight fire with fire.
Yeah, definitely.
So they actually, Athena did really well as the support in the first game, but then they chose her for jungle in the second. Why wouldn't they just give that to the support again?
Well, what they wanted to do was take Ares away from Connie Life just to see what he would do in the rest of the series, is my guess, what LC was thinking, and it worked out for them. They had the better front line. Like, it didn't work out for them in the beginning.
The early game, Ares was really weak.
But later on, because of the lack of the front line for Titan, they still capitalized that regardless. So I like the Ares pick. Just to see like the mindset of Connie Life, really. So we see Xingtian as a result.
We saw Xingtian build Stone Gaia 2.
Emerald Talisman,
Is that normal?
It's not really normal. I feel like he did it all right the way he did it. He didn't really spam his abilities in lane like you would usually see like Xingtians do to get their passive up. I feel like he did that because of the Stone of Gaia passive. Like, he felt he didn't really need to spam his ability, so he conserved his mana pretty well. But one thing I did notice was he was like level 4 even after they got that double kill in dual lane. So like he was still getting forced out and like out pressured because of his lack of mana. He couldn't really aggress, and that kind of led him to fall a bit behind, but not as much as the Ares.
I think if he didn't get some of those early kills, that it would have been really bad for him, but Xingtian was actually able to go. I think at one point before the first Gold Fury, Xingtian was 3-1, whereas Emilzy on Ares was 0-4, and Xing only had 150 gold lead. Like, he got pretty lucky, I think, that he got some kills and got an early gold Fury with that build.
It's very valuable.
So do you guys want to change your scores again? It seems like set 1 is the curse of upsets.
I think if Brotus plays a frontline god, like Neath was the only out-of-pick god in that comp. If they had, like, say, Sobek instead of a Neath, then more than likely they would have had an easier time. So Brodus has to play a frontline god, and I think if they switch that up, that they could pull through. Otherwise, if they don't, then yeah, they're gonna lose. LC is gonna go 3-0 here.
Adonis.
If Titan go into game 3 with the same pick and ban strategy they have in game 2, it's over. They need a front line, or they need to win lanes harder and press the issue when they have a lead.
Who do you think they're going to pick for solo lane this game?
Well, if Zashu plays Bellona again, I would like to see either Sobek or Xingtian. I would have liked to have seen Xingtian against the Bellona instead of the Neath. Xingtian is like a known Bellona counter. That's like his main like niche, I guess. But they decided to go Neath. I guess it's not really, Xingtian's not really comfortable in the hands of Brodus, but I would definitely like to see it, something like Sobek.
Well, we already saw an upset yesterday. Maybe we'll see one today again. Let's go to the casters to find out for game 3.